All right. Those of you who turned it in, I made a few comments on your work, and some of you, yes, are having some issues which we need to clear up. All right, number 9. Which lines are parallel? Okay, as you take a look at the parallel. All right, what are we looking for first? Parallel lines. George. What about the slope are we looking for parallel lines? Well, they're the same. There's something about their slopes. Zane, do you know what's true about their slopes? Oh, were you with us yesterday?
I mean, I was here.
You were here physically. All right. Now, there's these little things I hand out at times. They're called notes. And some of these things have like important facts on them. And so you need to be able to refer to those. Colin, what do we know about parallel lines? Okay, so if you didn't know that, maybe you could write that down somewhere. So parallel lines have the same slope. Now, if I give you an equation, y equals 3x plus 5, that is an equation. All right, first and foremost, when you look at that equation, can you, Zane, tell me the slope of that equation?
Yeah.
What is it?
3.
It is. All right. It is the number with the x once you have y by itself. Okay. All right. So parallel lines have the same slope. I'll put that over here too. Parallel lines have the same slope. All right. What can you tell me about perpendicular lines and their slopes? Okay, either give me an example or tell me. Christian.
They're flipped, like they're up, like they're flipped.
They're flipped. Yeah, that's part of it. You're correct. Maybe what's a little bit more on this is from yesterday. Anybody? I mean, this is from yesterday. And I think that is it. What's a little bit fancier name? So they're flipped. Give me an example then. Give me an example, Christian.
Oh, like the new
Yeah, give me 2 slopes that are perpendicular.
1, 6, and 6/1.
All right, he is close, but he is not right. He's missing one little thing. One of them has to be negative. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, opposite reciprocal slope. So one's positive, one's negative. The reciprocal means if one is 2/3, the other is negative 3/2. If one is the number 4, what is the opposite reciprocal of 4? 1/4, but we're gonna make it negative 1/4. Yep. All right, so that's good. All right, now 23. Look at that one. That's actually over on the next page. What do the directions tell us to do for 23? Connor.
Number 23.
For number 23.
So on the first page. 23, it says that you define the slope-intercept form for the line that's parallel to the given line that passes through a given point.
All right, so we want an equation, slope-intercept form for the line that parallel to the given line that passes through the given point. All right, so what is the given line there that they give us there, Connor?
4, -3.
That is not a line, that is a point. What is the line they give us?
Y equals 1/2 x plus 5.
What is the point that this other line goes through?
4, -3.
4, -3. All right, so I got a line parallel to this. Well, if it's parallel to it, Christiana, what's the slope of that line? Do you know? Do you remember? No, all right, the slope is always the number with the x, once it's like that. So the slope right there is 1/2. All right, so Allie, if I'm using a parallel line, what slope do I need to use? 1/2. So I'm gonna use m equals 1/2 with this point. Well, what do I gotta do, Connor?
You're going to use -3 for the y and 4 for the x.
What do I still need to find? Am I done?
No.
No, what do I gotta find? I gotta find the equation of the line. So how do I do that? I gotta use y equals mx plus b, and then I gotta plug in these values. This is x, this is y, and I gotta find the b value. So I gotta find b. And so y is -3, m is 1/2, x is 4 plus b. And now I solve for b, so I get -3 equals 2 plus b, subtract 2, and -5 equals b. What's my answer now? Joe, you with us? Okay. What's my answer, Sam?
Y equals 4x minus 5.
What? Where are you getting the 4x at?
Never mind. It's not 4. It's y equals 1/2 x.
Yeah, because I got to use that slope. -5. There's your answer. That's what we're looking for. Sam, I looked at yours when you submitted. Yeah, I can't remember what you did wrong, but you had some things you kind of went through there that we need to fix. All right, that's your answer. Y equals 1/2 x minus 5. So you substitute all that in, you get those, get that value. All right, now let's jump down to number. What was the last one we had to do? 40. Yeah, several of you did it right, which was good. All right, so number 40. Now make sure you read those directions. It's not always the same. So go up there. It says write an equation, slope-intercept for the line that is perpendicular to the given line and passes through the given point. So for 40, the line they give me is 2x plus 3y equals what? Equals 7. Is that right? Yep, and it goes through the point 4, 5. And it needs to be perpendicular to that line. All right, I need to know the slope of that line. How do I find the slope of that line? All right. So how do I find the slope of that line? Christian.
Simplify it.
And what does that mean?
Like move the x and put it on the side.
Okay, and all right, what is the end goal we need to do? And you're right.
Get y by itself.
Get y by itself. All right. Take a second, get y by itself if you haven't done that. Okay, write this down. If you got the right answer on the other side, then you're good. If you didn't get the right answer, let's fix it. So get the y by itself. And we've done that. Everybody's done that at some point. I'm going to give you the next part of the guided notes here. This M, the slopes, -3, and look at the like everybody. You gotta get subtract 2x. Subtract 2x. Okay, start with that. All right, 7 gives you a decimal, right? Just leave it as 7/3. Leave it as 7/3. Out of the what? Okay, all right. Now hold on, we're not done though. We're not done. We're not done. So if you get the 4 on that. All right, get y by itself. Get y by itself. Is that?
Okay.
Get y by itself. Alright, start with that right there, get y by itself.
Right.
There you got that. Okay, alright, just wait. John, get y by itself?
X by itself.
Yes, subtract from one, subtract two. Yeah, why did x right? Where's it at? Alright, I said redo it. Start from the beginning, start from right here, redo it. Alright, so right here, it says 2x plus 3y equals 7. And I said, get y by itself, which means I'm going to subtract 2x. And that gives me 3y equals negative 2x plus 7. Alright, from there, I gotta divide each piece by 3. Divide each piece by 3. I tell you, y equals negative 2/3 x. Now, some of you said, hey, 7 divided by 3 doesn't work out nice. That's okay. Just leave it as 7 over 3. So that is plus 7/3. What's the answer to the problem? Is that the answer? No, we want the line perpendicular to this line, but it goes through this point 4,5. So really, I'm only going to use this line for the slope. The slope of this line is negative 2/3. But I want a line perpendicular to it. So what is the slope I'm going to use? So what is perpendicular to negative 2/3?
3 seconds.
3 over seconds. So what I want to do is I want to use m equals 3 over 2 and this 0.45 with the equation y equals mx plus b. This is where we're going with this. So the only thing I'm going to use this line for is to get the slope. And then I'm done with that. I don't need this anymore. Okay, this whole thing, that's irrelevant at this point. I got the slope from it. I want perpendicular line. And now I'm going to plug in. The 5 goes in for the y. The m is 3/2. The x is 4 plus b. 3/2 times 4 is 6 plus b. Subtract 6. And this is where I get the -1 equals b. So now your final equation, you got to use the new slope. You got to use that perpendicular slope. So it's going to be y equals 3/2 x minus 1. Y equals 3/2 x minus 1. For that. All right. So now we're done. We're done. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. You got to understand perpendicular lines. You got to understand their slopes and all that. All right, we're going to finish up with section 5.8. I gave you those guided notes. This is that first part. It says, are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, if they're parallel, what has to be true about their slopes? They have to be the same. The perpendicular, they have to be opposite reciprocals. Anything else is neither. So here's an example of neither. So like if I had y equals 2x minus 3 and y equals 3/2 x plus 2, this has a slope of 2. Second one has a slope of 3/2. Those aren't the same. They're not negative reciprocals. Those lines are neither parallel or perpendicular. All right, so on this problem here, you got to do something before you can answer this question. What do we have to do to figure out the slopes? Get y by itself for both of them. Okay, for both of them. All right, so when we're doing that, Connor, what's for the first one, what's the only thing I need to do?
Subtract 2x.
Subtract 2x. Tell me what to write then, Connor, on the next line.
y equals negative 2x plus 3,
And what is the slope of that line, Connor?
negative 2.
That slope is -2. All right, so we are not done. Evan, I gave you a sheet, didn't I?
Mhm.
All right, now Evan, you've been going a while, so I get to pick on you a little bit. What do you think I need to do for part B? Any ideas? I want to get this y, and you've done this before, even before you were gone. What can I do to get that y by itself? Any ideas?
Plus 3.
All right, you want to add the 3, make sure you say 3x, but yes, add 3x. All right, tell me what to write, Evan, I'm just curious.
6y
Okay?
equals 3x minus 12.
All right, perfect. 6y equals 3x minus 12. Josh, you with us back there?
Yeah.
What do I gotta do now?
Divide 6.
Divide everything by 6. Divide everything by 6. All right, now tell me what to write at that point, huh?
Y equals 1/2 x minus 2.
So she says y equals 1/2 x minus 2. All right, she went the extra step here. She saw that 3/6 reduces to 1/2. Because if you just leave it as 3/6, you're going to get in trouble there. You may not recognize something. All right, so what is the slope, Allie, of that line? 1/2. Amanda. Okay, we are now to the point where we should be able to answer this question. Are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither?
Perpendicular.
Okay, they're perpendicular because they have what's called the opposite reciprocal slopes. That's -2/1. That's the flip of it, and it's a positive. So these are perpendicular lines. All right, good. But you can't say yes or no or neither until you get those y by itself. And you say, all right, there's the slope. Now it says for the next one, identify which lines are perpendicular. Okay? We're going to run into the same thing. You got A, B, C, D, and E. You got them spread out a little bit nicer on your notes. For A, can you look at it and tell me the slope right away? No, you got to get y by itself. All right, so for A, take x minus 6y equals 15. All right, get y by itself. So think about what we need to do. All right, Zane, what do you think?
Would be. Or we just, am I telling you?
How can I get this y by itself?
Oh, subtract x,
Okay, and then tell me what to write.
negative 6y equals negative x plus 15.
All right, good. Everything's good so far. Now I'm still not by itself. What do I do from there?
Divide everything by negative 6.
Okay, divide everything by -6. All right, now you guys gotta be real careful here. Now, y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Since there's no number in front of the x, put a 1 there. Make it 1/6 x. 15 divided by 6 gives you a decimal. What does it give us? What's that? 2.5. So you can either make it or keep it a fraction, or since that one's not a bad, you can make it minus 2.5. That's not a big deal. Jay Lee, what's the slope of this line? It is 1/6. Jay Lee, part B, line B. Do we need to do anything to it? Is y by itself? Yep, so what's the slope of that line? 3. Slope of that line is 3. I'm just going to put m equals 3 underneath it. Jay Lee, you're on a roll. How about the slope of C? -3, because you already have y by itself. Don't need to do anything to it. Jay Lee, how about D? -6. All right, so those were nice. I didn't have to do a thing to them. But, all right, we run out of niceness. Because what do I have to do for that last one? Is it y by itself? Nope, Sam, what do I need to do?
You need to divide by
By what?
by 3.
By the 3, and everything by 3. All right, now, in that case here, that gives me negative 1/3 x. All right, minus, just keep that as 11/3. It gives you a real long decimal, a repeating decimal. Just 11/3 is fine, because really, what's the only thing we're worried about? So I really only care about what's in front of the x, and that's negative 1/3. Okay. Which lines are perpendicular? Which lines are Christian?
E and B.
He says E and B has positive 3 and negative 1/3, so that is good. So B and E are perpendicular. You can use that little symbol, that's fine. Colin?
A and D.
He says 1/6 and negative 6. So A and D are perpendicular. Okay. Anything else? All right, that's it. You really got to be careful because you cannot say negative 3 and negative 1/3 because they're both negative. All right, so that's it. Those are the only ones. So you just get y by itself, identify whether they are opposite reciprocals, and then those would be our 2 sets of lines that are perpendicular. Okay. Show that ABCD is a parallelogram. You've had this at some point. Parallelogram, both sides are parallel. Well, basically, we just need to show that they have the same slopes. And I need to find and list the slope of those lines. So here's what I need you to do. Let me see what kind of room you get. Oh, you got room underneath it. You got room underneath it. So put down the slope. We got 4 sides. I want to find the slope of AB. Now, which side is going to be parallel to that side, if it is? Christian?
BC.
DC. So now I'm going to put the slope of DC underneath it. You cannot assume they are parallel. You have to find them. And I'm going to have the slope of AD. And I need to compare that with the slope of BC. Slope of BC. All right, now, slope of AB. That's a horizontal line. What should that slope be?
0.
Should be 0. Now, let me show you why it will be. If I do my slope formula, I do 2 minus 2 over 4 minus 0. And that gives me 0 over 4, which is 0. Well, for this one, you don't need to show me. This is one case where you don't need to show me that slope formula. You can just put down 0. So what's the slope of DC? It is also 0. That means those lines are parallel. They have the same slope. Now you gotta make sure you get this next part right. Slope of AD. If you have this drawn on here, you can count up and you can count over. Just make sure you reduce it. All right, Evan, any idea how to do slope?
No.
Okay, so you got 2 points. Here's point D, here's point A. The slope is rise over run. Just count up the number of blocks. So it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks up. How far over does it go to get to that point? It goes over 3. So the slope of AD is 5/3. Now those of you who've been here, is that a positive slope or does it go uphill?
Yeah.
Positive slope. It is going downhill to negative slope. Now it's from C to B. Do I go up 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I go over 3? Yep. And so you need to list that. So that means these lines are parallel. So since I have 2 sets of parallel lines, it's got to be a parallelogram. Okay. The next one asks you to show it's a rectangle. Rectangles have what type of angles? Right angles. Right angles are formed by what type of line? Perpendicular. perpendicular. So I want to find the slope of each one. So the slope of PQ, then I want to find the slope, and you can just count up and over, of QR, and then the slope of RS, and then the slope of PS or SP. It doesn't really matter what order you do. And you can, like I said, you can just count up and you can count over. Christiana, were you here for this? When we counted up and over? You learned it? Okay. All right, so for PQ, I go up 1, 2, I go over 1, so it's 2 over 1. You can leave it as that or you can write it as 2, and it's a positive. All right, well, how about QR? Allie, count those. You should be, and then let me know what your rise over run is. Okay, -3 over 6. Now, to make sure we get everything right, what does that reduce to? -1/2. So that is -1/2. All right, the slope of RS. Okay, I go down 2 over 1, but it's still a positive slope, but it's still increasing. So that is +2 over 1. And then the slope of SP, all right, count those. Christian?
Six over three.
Flip
Negative 6 over 3.
Flip it.
3 over 6.
-3 over 6, which reduces to -1/2. So that lets me know that 2 over 1 and 1 over 2 are perpendicular lines. That means we got a right angle, and then we got a perpendicular lines here. So any set, we're going to get those right angles. So that's how you show it's a rectangle. Okay, that's how you show it's a rectangle. All right, listen. In this problem here is, all right, I want you to take a look at it, see if you know what to do. This is one that was from yesterday. We went over it again. Okay, and if you're not sure, just wait. If you are not sure, just wait. But fill in that spot. Fill in 2x minus 3y equals 12. Okay. We'll fill in that. Do that first. And then just wait. I'm going to do the part. You want to do it? No? Same? No? All right. Josh? All right. First will be parallel. First will be parallel. It has to have the same slope. We need to determine the slope of this first line. Well, in order to determine that slope of that line, what do I need to do? Evan, any ideas?
No.
Okay. When you're given a line, to find the slope, we want to get it in what we call slope-intercept form. We want to get the y by itself. That's one of those things that's really important to do that because it gives us some information. All right, Austin, what do you think I should do for my first step to get y by itself? Subtract the x, subtract 2x. So minus 2x. That gives me -3y equals -2x plus 12. Now divide by -3. All right, I do see some mistakes here. All right, where I am at, what should I write down? All right, as you look at that. Connor,
Yes.
what's that going to, after I divide by, what does that give me?
Y equals q3 x minus 4.
All right, good. I want to make sure you don't make that a negative 2/3. It's a positive 2/3. Now, that's it. I'm only using this line for its slope. Then I'm done with it. So what is the slope of this line at this point? It is 2/3. So I got M equals 2/3 right here. So now I got to use that point. What is it? 18 negative 7? Okay. And so I got to plug in, and then M equals 2/3. So y is negative 7. M is 2/3. X is 18 plus B. And now I get negative 7 equals 2/3 times 6. Anybody help me out there? 12. Plus B. Subtract 12. And I get negative 19 equals B. All right, I got all my information, but I really haven't answered the question because it says find the equation in slope-intercept form. So final answer, Jay Lee, do you know what the final answer would be? Got it all there. Hanan, help her out.
Y equals 2/3 of x minus 19.
Yep, we found the 2/3. We found the y-intercept. We got to put it all together. So that's got to be my final answer. Got to be my final answer. All right, we're not going to have time for this last one, which is a similar one. All right, now I don't know if anybody's ready for these ones on the bottom. These are for if you got a high A in the class. If you got a high A in the class, you should do those bottom ones. But at this point, you guys are struggling pretty much. You might want to just stick with these. Okay? So probably just going to do those. And it's a lot of the same problems from yesterday. Okay, different numbers, but same type of problems. Okay, so we're not really adding anything new. We review tomorrow. We review Thursday. We got the next quiz on Friday.
Aw.